All right, good morning everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What's today's topic? Let's talk about cheaper or inexpensive MIG welders. And my son got one from a place called SunGold, and I'm going to pan over and I'm going to show it to you. We're going to demo it here. We'll see how it holds up. Now I have the Miller-Matic 211 auto set. Fantastic machine. But sometimes people don't want to spend that kind of money, but would like to get into the hobby of doing some MIG welding, which is probably the easiest form of welding, to learn. So, like I said, they don't want to spend a lot of money. So let's demo this inexpensive machine, and I'll put up an advertisement in a little bit, where you can get it and how much it costs. But let's put it through the paces real quick. I'll meet you over at the little welding table. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the face of the machine. I went ahead and set that first dial up on 220, just a generic setting. Wire speed 6.5, just a good starting point. There's an on and off switch on the back. I do have it hooked to 220 volt only because I don't do 110. Once you've experimented around and done 220, I don't think you'll ever go back because it's just that much more powerful. So like I said, we'll compare it, we'll see. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to show you here in a minute a little piece of metal we're going to try welding. We'll go from there, so I'll catch up with you right over there. Okay, so you can see here where I've kind of metal prepped. I've cleaned the metal, both on that piece of tube steel, and there's a little piece of plate steel here, sheet metal, thick gauged. Let's try this just for a starter. Let's just see how it goes. You can see not too bad. I got some splatter here, and I gave up right here. That's where that little divot is. But you can see it didn't do that bad. It's got a decent weld to it. It does have a little bit slower than my Miller-Matic, of course, but it did give you a good weld bead there. Now you can see here, not bad. And actually, if you leave it too long, it will go through this sheet metal, which I expected it to. This is just a real rough kind of a demoing test, but it seemed to do fairly well, to be honest. Okay, so not the best test in the world, I understand, and it does not really have the power that Miller-Matic 211 does, but it's not expected to because of the inexpensive price. But it does create a decent weld here. You'll have to do a little bit of cleanup, and I'm not an expert welder, but you can see it actually has got a good feed rate to it if you set it right, and it actually burns in pretty good. And like I said, I run it off at 220. All right, folks, let's switch inside. We'll do questions and answers. We'll wrap this up. Okay, so let's go over this. Okay, it's a SUNGOLDPOWER MIG 140, $239. Actually, if you apply for the credit card, I guess you can get it for $169, and then pay it off when you get the bill. But anyway, what do I think of the unit overall? It's an all right unit for the price. It really is. It'll do the job. It's my first experience with it. I know some of those, those welds were real rough looking, but it did weld all right. A little bit of tweaking, I'm sure I could bring it in and and create just as good a welds as I do with my my Miller-Matic. For super thick steel, I don't know. I didn't have anything real thick. I just used angle iron and sheet metal. It's what I had laying around, so it's just a quick demo on this, but like I said, it seemed to perform fine. It's got a good grounding clamp, not the best in the world, but by far not the worst I've seen, and it's very usable. I ran flux cord in this. I didn't want to change the outlets around and all of that just to run it off gas. Now mine, I do run gas. So with this, yeah, I was using the flux cord, but still, it seemed to weld all right. Well, it says right here in the description, you can run either flux cord or you can hook gas up to it, and you can put either 2-pound or 10-pound wire spools into it. So it'll hold the larger, the larger spools of wire. Yeah, the two knobs on the front, just like it says here, one's for the wire speed, the other's for the current. I think it's good for just a DIY kind of a thing. There was a time I was doing, quite a bit of welding. I had a little side gig going that was getting real busy. And that's what prompted me to get, the higher end machine. But if I was just an occasional intermittent DIY kind of hobby, wanting to play around and have some fun kind of a person, the SunGold would work. I mean, it's a doable welder, for MIG welding. Is it noisy? No, actually it runs very quiet. I was surprised. I expected it to be a lot noisier, but no, not at all. Yeah, the plug comes with it. You can switch back over to 110 if you wanted to. Like I said, I wanted to demo it on 220, and 220 is what I'm used to using anyway. Is it a heavy machine? No, not at all. My Miller is heavier. This comes in at 28.4 pounds. So, no, it's not heavy. It's very easy to move around. Okay, what's the warranty period? The warranty period is 1 year, but I would caution you on something. If I was buying this, make sure that you're able to get a hold of customer service easily if you need to. Make sure that there's parts availability if you need them, and ask them before purchasing this. It's a nice little unit, but I'm always one of the ones that have to know that I can reach out, I can get a hold of somebody, and that there are replacement parts available. How thick of a metal can you weld? Well, somebody made a comment that they've welded 5/16 with this machine. I didn't try anything that thick in today's demonstration, though. Yeah, I understand the weld didn't look that great on the sheet metal I was welding, but just to give you an example, like somebody was suggesting, what do you do if you're using, 22 gauge sheet metal? Well, I would run, gas, first of all. Second of all, the wire size would be something like 024, and I wouldn't be using, that flux cord that was in the machine, which I think was 030. But, look, it was for a demonstration, but some of this is just a matter of tweaking and knowing which things that you need and where before you start the project. Will it weld stainless steel? Yeah, it will, but I would use stainless steel wire, and I would definitely use gas if you're going to weld stainless steel. Now, I didn't demo the machine that way. It's just from the comments that I read that it can be done, but I do agree you need to change, the wire, for sure, and I would for sure run gas. Where can you get replacement nozzles for this? Off Amazon. All you got to do is do a search. They're there because I looked earlier. If I wanted to, could I run 045? Yeah, you could. You're going to have to change the tip out, and again, I would use gas, but yes, you could run 045. Okay, you're asking me an electrical question more than about the MIG welder. You're wondering, what size breaker would you need to run 220 volt? Well, I'd tell you at least 35 amp. Somebody else made a comment in here, both Harbor Freight and Lincoln tips we'll screw onto this real easily. So if you're looking for tips, if you don't want to get them off Amazon, that's what somebody in here wrote a comment. So nice to know they're interchangeable. What kind of gas should I hook up to this, or what types are available? Well, you got your choice between nitrogen or CO2 and argon. It just that's up to you, to make that decision. Is this particular machine, capable of doing stick welding and TIG? No. If you want the 200 one that SunGold sells, I think it does stick. This is strictly MIG. Is there a settings guide on the inside of the machine when you open up the door that will show you the voltage and wire speed based on the material? Yes, most all MIG welders have that. A quick reference. You just take a look at what kind of steel you're welding. You go over on the row. It'll tell you what to set wire speed and the voltage at. Now, those are good starter settings. After that, you can tweak it to your own liking depending on how you're welding. No, I made the comment about stick welding and TIG because somebody wrote in here that the machine's capable of doing stick welding, and no, it's not unless you go to the 200 series. Does a 220 plug use 3 or 4 wire outlet? It uses a 3 wire. Like a standard dryer kind of a thing in your garage. You can also, make a converter box if you needed to go over, to any other, plug configuration. And changing tips, how do you do it? Well, you take the shield off of it and you just unscrew the tip and replace it. It's that easy. Is there a switch to go from 110 to 220? No, it's auto detects, the voltage, so you don't need to worry about that. Just make sure, it comes, like I said, with a plug that converts it. You plug in the 110 and on the other end, it's the 220, but the machine itself will auto detect it, so you're all right with that. How thick can I weld if I'm going to stay with 110? Okay, I don't know, but in the specifications, what it says is you can weld 3mm metal at 110, or you can weld 6mm when it's on 220. That's a generic response from the manufacturer. Okay, so on the forum, I'm getting a bunch of questions that are relating to MIG and stick and, what's the difference between this MIG 140 and the 200. Let me show you the advertisement on the 200 because, truthfully, you may decide, to actually go with this other machine. I mean, this one's good, but look at the price. It's $239. Now, if it was me, I would do some research and seriously consider this other one just because of the additional capabilities. But let me show you the ad. So while the one that we demoed today is a very doable, MIG welder, I mean, I would turn around and take a look. If I was in the market and I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, this right here is $229 ships prime. 4-star rating. I would read through the reviews if I were you. Again, the most important thing is make sure you're able to contact customer service, ask them about replacement parts, things like that. If they've got good customer service and they do have parts availability and all that, you may want to consider this machine because, I mean, if you take a look at it, it can do TIG, arc, it can do aluminum. You have a little bit more versatility with this machine. I have no experience with this machine. I just started reading into SunGold products. I mean, once I demoed that 140 MIG welder, and then I came across this. And a lot of people in the forum are asking questions, about this flexibility and being able to do different types of welding. So worth considering. And actually, I'll add a comment to this if SunGold is listening. This is a machine in particular I would love to be able to demonstrate and get my hands on because of the, the flexibility and being able to do other things, including, the arc and the TIG and the aluminum. So the price point looks like a good price point. I just don't know enough about the machine to give anybody a recommendation on this, but customer service, as long as, like I said, you can get through to them, this may be a machine that you want to consider. I mean, nice little machine here. Let's go back to the MIG. Where can I get a regulator for this welder if I decided to go with the gas setup? Well, Amazon sells them. They're all over the place on Amazon, but it does not come with one, so you'll have to buy that in addition. Okay, which is typical of these things. I mean, people got them and the gun was broke or the unit wouldn't start up or there was some kind of a malfunction. I know that this is a pain, but it happens with things, that we buy and they get shipped to us. Package it up, return it to Amazon, call them. I mean, I have never had a problem. I'm sure that there are people that have, but I've never had a problem returning anything back to Amazon that was faulty. So I know it's a drag, but, it happens. And actually, that adds to my point. I want to be able to know I can get a hold of customer service if I have a problem with the unit and I buy it because, you're spending decent money on something like this and you expect it to perform. If it doesn't, at least you can easily get a hold of customer service or they'll either help you fix the problem because they want you to be a happy customer, or they'll tell you or send you out replacement parts, or they'll make some kind of an arrangement. So make sure you have some, good contact with the company themselves. I mean, I keep pounding that in, but a lot of people don't. They just pull the trigger and buy things. And then they find they can't get replacement parts or there's some big headache involved, or do this one simple step, save you a lot of grief. Okay, so what would I suggest? I would suggest you click the link below, go over if you're interested in this. And like I said, this is a simple, basic MIG welder. And you can actually get it for that $169 price if you want to apply for the rewards Visa card. Makes it even cheaper, and then just pay it off when it comes in, like I said earlier. Good all-around little MIG gun for the DIY, home handyman kind of use thing. Like I said, I've got a much more powerful machine, but it's strictly MIG welding also. I want to switch back over and make a comment about the other one, and just telling you what to consider. I would definitely look into this one, and SunGold, if you're listening, I'll leave my email address up here. I would love to even just demo this at least once and do a short, demonstration instructional video on this particular machine. I'd even return it back to you when I'm done, but not going to run out and buy it. But this really interested me the more I read about this particular machine, and it's $229. Well worth taking a look at, but you got to consider both. I mean, and figure out which one you're going to use. Maybe you're never going to weld and trying to do aluminum or anything like that, or maybe you don't care about arc welding and stuff like that, or maybe you don't have an interest in TIG. You just want a general, fairly powerful, just MIG welder just to have around. And so then I would tell you the 140 is for you. I have no experience with the 200. Would love to try it. I'm the home handyman. That's my review on the SunGold 140. Let me switch back. And here it is. So you got any thoughts? If you own one, drop it in the comment below. Let me know what you think and what your experience is. If you know a better deal out there on a simple MIG welder for people, drop it in the comment below. I know this was like a real rough, basic, kind of a demo, but this unit actually, like I said, did well. I'm the Home Handyman, and I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. Thank you, folks, very much. Links are below. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.